This podcast is recorded on the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, who were our first teachers and storytellers. I extend my respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Welcome to the Habit Nerd podcast. I'm Dr. Bree Hearn, and if you're interested in habits, those tiny, powerful behaviours that shape who we are and what we achieve, you've absolutely landed in the right place. Join me each week as I interview a wide range of experts, dive into evidence-based strategies, and give you practical tools to help you build habits that stick and break the ones that hold you back. Hi there, Habit Nerds. Welcome to today's episode. It is a very exciting one. I have got one of my dream guests on the podcast. Her name is Lisa Corduff. Now, Lisa is a sought-after speaker. She's a storyteller, and she's created transformational programs that help women break long-held patterns, regulate and create meaningful change without relying on willpower or perfectionism. Over the past decade, Lisa has guided thousands through her signature approach to practical mindset shifts, emotional resilience, and habit change that actually sticks in the real world. Lisa is known for her refreshing honesty and capacity to make complex behavior concepts feel simple and doable. Lisa brings together lived experience from navigating grief and major life transitions to deep training in personal transformation. Through her wonderful podcast, her programs, and her online community, she's become a trusted voice for women who want to reclaim their energy, rewrite old stories, and build lives anchored in courage and self-trust. Lisa's work is grounded, compassionate, and deeply human. And I'm so thrilled to have her on the Habit Nerd podcast to explore small, powerful shifts and how they can reshape our life. Welcome, Lisa, and a warm and huge thank you for being here with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me, Brie.
All right, let's dive in, Lisa. A pretty general question I ask all of my guests. What is one habit of yours that you're proud of and that has a positive flow over effect in your life?
This one was so easy when you sent through the list of questions, I was like, oh, it's my morning walk. Because for years and years, I wasn't able to get out and exercise in the morning. And
Okay.
I just love being out, moving my body in the mornings. But when I became a sole parent and my kids were little, they just hated the idea of me not
Being out.
being there when they woke
Mm,
up. And any parent
mm,
knows I've got three kids, and I started parenting them on my own when they were 8, 6, and 4.
mm.
And uh, you know, any changes to routines, like the morning is intense.
Yes.
And so I just would, get out a yoga mat, or I'd listen to a meditation. I'd try to do something for me before they woke up, just
Mm-hmm.
because it was my little moment before
Mm.
the day started. And it's probably been 2 years since they felt fine with me. The youngest have felt fine with me getting up and out in the morning. So
Mm-hmm.
I put my clothes next to my bed the night before.
Love that.
All I have
Remove
to
the
do,
barrier.
yep,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't have to think. There's no decisions for me to make in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I get up and I have a beach right near me, and I just walk out and go on my morning walk. I choose a direction and off I go. And it's funny, the kids even know the difference between morning mum who's been out for her walk and morning mum who has not been out for her walk. And I just love that now it's not even a conversation I need to have in my head. It's just what I do. And
Right. It'd be
I'm
more
so
unusual if you didn't.
yeah, yes, exactly. I miss it if I don't do it.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
and there's just being out. I don't go to a gym. I don't go inside. I am literally out in the elements every day. And for some reason, I just love it so much. Seeing the sun
Mm.
come up, seeing the colors in the sky. If it's windy, I feel it on my face, all the good things. So,
I completely understand. What is Lisa with a walk? How is she different to Lisa without a walk for the kids? Like, what would be some of the clues that they would have?
well, I think that I've already smiled in the morning.
Yes.
I smile because of the songs that are playing in my ears, or I might be listening to a funny podcast. I might have seen something beautiful in the sky or smiled to someone as I've walked past. It just
Mm.
sets up my day completely differently to lying in bed and maybe I've been scrolling on my phone or I've been thinking about getting up and then just not, you can get in your head. And so there's a bounce to me when I come back
Uh,
in after being outside. That is probably the best way that I can describe it.
Yeah, I completely can understand that. I love the simplicity of I've already smiled. I think that's, like I've never heard it put that way, but that is so true. I conceptualize that is I'm the same. My morning exercise is fundamental to the way the rest of my day unfolds, but often it's I get a treat, I get a coffee on the way home, so that really adds to the kind of experience for me. But I just find myself having a conversation with the barista and I'm just genuinely kinder to them, and then I guess because I've been kind to one person, then I'm more likely to continue that habit when I get home with my children. So yeah, but I love that I've already smiled. That's
I love getting
beautiful.
some fresh bread on the way home. This morning I got a baguette for their lunches, and that just makes me
Amazing.
feel like I'm, living in Italy or something. Like
I know.
it's a bit of
Yeah.
novelty in my day and connection to
Yes.
people, seeing the place wake up, the other early risers. There's just some sort of magic about it.
I completely agree. Yeah, I think that's a wonderful one. Lisa, is there a habit that you have that you're trying to break? And if so, how's it going?
Oh, I really, really love peanut butter. And the peanut butter that I buy from this small market, he doesn't
Mm-hmm.
sell this peanut butter anywhere else. Like you have to go to
Wow.
this market a few suburbs
Bespoke.
away from me. Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And and it's so good. It's just peanuts, but it's double roasted. Something makes it outrageously good. And
Mm.
I love it so much. That on some sourdough for breakfast with my
Mm.
coffee is just the best. But last year, I actually found out I have some arthritis in my lower back. And so
Right.
I'm doing a lot of stuff that's anti-inflammatory for
Inflammatory,
my body.
yes. Mm.
And the peanut butter is not super great. And I don't have it every day, but I'd probably be better off if it was gone.
Not even
Uh,
in the house. Oh, I'm really sad for you. That's a terrible habit to
Basically,
break.
isn't it?
Yes.
And so, yeah, it's lingering. There's a lot of other things that I've been able to shift around. And,
Mm.
with all this stuff, I always think about, instead of stopping doing something, what I can
And
do
swap it out
instead.
with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm so lucky that now I'm filled with fish and salmon, like all of these little things. I'm so much healthier now because I'm eating so many blah blah blah. But damn, I want that peanut butter for my
Yeah,
breakfast.
I know. And I mean, look, the way we think and the way we behave are so often different, aren't they? So, cognitively that the smart thing would be to not travel the couple of suburbs and just not buy the peanut butter. And we all have
100%.
things like that.
Don't we?
But,
It's just, yeah.
but Lisa, I just want to tell you what's a little bit of arthritis with the peanut butter. Like, I'm sure
Well,
you've done this maths yourself, but
oh, and the thing is, I mean, I started online in 2012 when I was trying to figure out how to shift food habits. And I had my son, I'd recently had my second child, and I
mm,
was wanting to eat more whole foods. Like I just thought there was all that health stuff going on at the time. It was like
mm.
sugar and paleo and all of those sorts of
Right,
things.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
it was a real
I am
moment.
literally never going to be a person who eats perfectly. So we can just take
Mm,
that off the table. But maybe if
mm.
as a family we were eating mostly real food as often as we can, I'm just going to make that my North Star as a
Yeah,
mum and not freak myself out. And obviously I
yes.
started sharing about that online and it was, I
Mm,
think, refreshing for a lot of people. Um, and I still take the same approach today with myself. that I
Mm,
that I did back then. That business was called Small Steps Living, and it
that's
was all
right.
about,
Yes.
yeah, it was all about taking, like, just focus on one meal or upgrade one thing in your pantry at a
Mm,
time. Don't freak yourself
mm,
out, because
mm.
then
Yeah,
we rebel against ourselves
that's
or we
right.
make it too
Yeah.
hard for ourselves. I mean, you're all about that. So I I think I'm taking that with myself. Like, it will probably, the peanut butter will probably be the last thing to go because it's the thing I
W-
love so much. And
Yeah.
I'm just going to be cool with myself. I know what I need to do. I'm making small shifts in the right direction in lots of different areas of my life. But if I try to do it all at once, nothing will
Nothing
happen
will
and
stick.
nothing stick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
that's so
that's my
insightful.
go-to.
I mean, that's such a, like, that really encapsulates a lot of your messaging, that all or nothing is never going to be productive, and the whole beating ourselves up gets us nowhere. But yeah, it is interesting because there is some, chocolate would be my thing. There is something about, you could say to me, just have two squares, but I won't. I'll have six. Like, I'm sorry. I just will have six. So
Yeah.
for me, yeah, I really understand that, the difficulty around the peanut butter, which I love. People are probably laughing because it just sounds bonkers. Like, just have two pieces of chocolate brie. It's not that hard, but it is for me. And
Yeah.
so I'm much happier making the kind of peripheral habits and being proud of myself where the shifts are really productive and really positive. And, you know, self-kindness is key.
And I think over the years, I've really shifted my idea of what is healthy.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, especially the pressure mums put on themselves to do the right thing by their kids all the time. I mean,
Mm,
who's doing this perfectly? Literally no one. Everyone's just
no one.
bringing the best that they can in certain moments.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I started off obviously my parenting journey with a husband who was
Mm,
really hands-on. I mean, he was fermenting all our like foods, and so we always had sauerkraut and kimchi and pickles and all that good gut
wow.
health stuff. Have I done that once since he died? No. And you know what? I'm like, you're doing a lot else, Lisa.
Absolutely.
Chill out.
Chill out.
And I think giving, I guess, that soul parent journey is a journey that I don't wish upon anyone, but it's really given me permission to be kinder to myself about what I can
Mm,
bring. And I think, partnered or not, that's something that any mum could really do for herself at any time. Just
oh,
just
completely
take a
agree.
load off. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah. Lisa, you have navigated some huge life transitions with honesty and vulnerability. The biggest one that I've watched from the outside, and obviously through a naturally limited lens of, social media, is supporting your husband Nick through his addiction. And then, very sadly, 6 years ago, he passed away. So, through your journey of grief, and then, as you've said, single parenthood and reinvention, what are a few of those tiny micro habits that have supported you to keep showing up for yourself and for your three kids?
Yeah. It's funny because it probably hasn't changed the whole time. And even although the context has changed,
Mm-hmm.
Uh, when Nick was going through those years of recovery, it became obvious to me. I knew how much I was holding. I was aware of it. I didn't feel like
Yes.
I necessarily had a choice. A lot was riding on me. I mean, the
Yeah.
kids, he'd go sort of, he was in and out of rehab through that time. Um, in himself, it was a lot to manage as a partner.
Mm.
But I was also running a business that was, turning over $1 million a year. And
Mm.
I had an online community of women who I mean, I genuinely wanted to show up for. Work was almost my savior at that time.
Yes.
But
Yes.
then I had three little kids, and there was just a lot. And I think
Yeah.
everyone can relate to those times in life where, ooh, like, if I go down, this ship sinks.
Yeah.
And
That would have
so,
felt so heavy.
yeah, but then I think that hasn't ended really, because
Mm.
when he died, uh, well then everyone's looking at me. it's on me, and there's no
Mm.
shared capacity here. And it became so through that time, it became so obvious how important it was for me to take care of myself,
Mm.
and and that no one was going to do that for me. So
Yes.
it was getting shingles after burning myself out that
Right.
really was a
The
significant
wake
moment
up
where I was
call.
like, wow, we can't do 2 weeks in bed, Lisa. This was when he was still alive, and we'd moved back to Melbourne to be with family.
Hmm.
And the doctor sort of said, you know, other viruses, they love to jump on the back of shingles. So chronic fatigue or glandular
Yes.
fever or things like that. You really have to
Yes.
go easy, and had to really look at myself and what I was trying to do and how
Mm.
I was thinking even about it all. And
Mm.
so what I started to do was ask myself every day, and this continues to this day, is like, what's one thing I can do for myself today to make me feel good?
Right.
So
Right.
even in the shittiest times, I was asking myself, how can Lisa feel good today? No matter what's going on for everybody else. And back then it was maybe I'm just going to let myself sit in the cafe and have my coffee instead of getting
Yeah.
a takeaway. I'm just going to sit
Mm. Mm.
and write in my journal or read the bloody paper. It didn't even matter. It just mattered
Yes.
that I was gifting myself
You were
something
choosing to
that
do
felt good
that.
to me.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Then, it's changed so much over the years. Well, it really has. But still, it's the question that will just, I think when life, it's so easy to just be focused on everybody else, all the
Yeah.
obligations and
Yes.
responsibilities, the outputs that are required from us, that just asking that question just gently shines the light back onto me. Okay, what do we need? Like, what do you need today? How can we make that happen for you? Like, even through all the COVID lockdowns, being in Melbourne,
Mm.
that was brutal. Nick died in September 2019. And, 6 months later, we were navigating all the
Lockdown.
first birthdays on our own, anniversaries on our own, like all those things. And I would literally just, okay, how could today feel okay? Right, guys, we're going to get on our scooters and we're going to scooter to Luna Park and back. And, just tiny, tiny little things. Let's get the soccer ball and go kick it at the beach. Let's, phone a friend. Let's get Omar and Pop, my mum and dad, on FaceTime. Like, whatever. And I just think we forget that we've got a choice to feel good, even if circumstances are really.
Yeah. That's so powerful. Did you let the children in on the secret that we're kind of making decisions to do things that are fun, even when things are tricky
Well,
everywhere else?
that last lockdown, lockdown 6, I remember I remember being in the car with the kids when they announced it and they heard the announcement, and my son just
Hmm.
looked at me. He just goes, "No," like this sporty kid, all that he cared
Yeah,
about. What
like
what was
no
he in
more
grade 5? Like, just no more
being able to
soccer,
go
no
back
more
to soccer
friends.
on the weekend, and yeah.
Yeah, but we're back inside, and
Hmm.
oh my God, the heaviness was just so much. And I said, you know what, guys, you know what we're gonna call this? And they're like, what? And I said, the lockdown fun. And they're like, and I remember sharing that with my online community, and everyone's like, good luck. It was the
Crazy
best thing
Lisa.
ever. So every
Yeah.
morning at breakfast, I'm like, well, guys, what are we going to do today that
What's
feels
fun
fun?
today?
And they're
Mm.
like, paper mache. And I'm like, why did I do this? That is
Yeah,
not
well,
what I do.
you really
But it was,
created a rod for your back.
I
Yeah,
think,
how
it
wonderful.
was,
But you gave them the choice to come up with what was fun. It wasn't always you saying,
oh,
let's go for
100%.
a
No, I
ride
can't
or
think
let's
of the
do this.
ideas. No, no, no,
Yep,
no.
yep,
So,
outsourced.
yeah, like sleep in the toy room tonight, whatever. And
Mm.
I think, but the kids taught me that. The kids taught me, after Nick died, I could see that they couldn't hold grief for a long stretch of time. Like, they were naturally moving in and out of it. And I think
Right.
as adults, we're not as good at allowing our emotions, fully feeling them. and then
Mm.
being in a different state afterwards. And they showed me that the worst thing that could happen happened, and
Mm.
they still sought out fun and joy and
Yeah.
laughter and good times, and music could change the mood. And I'm like, oh, this is okay. We're not one thing. We're all the things.
No.
Yeah,
Wow. That's amazing teaching. I mean, they didn't deliberately teach you, but like you
no,
must have been so proud of them for just getting up each day and choosing something fun.
yeah. Well, I just think sometimes our thought habits, the patterned way of thinking us
Mm.
adults can get into, we have to
Mm.
just put a question mark next to sometimes,
Mm.
because, yeah, going back to that childlike, almost just trust of themselves and not overthinking their ability to move through things, just
Mm.
trusting themselves to be in or out of a particular state. It was definitely a lot of learning for me watching them.
Yeah, it's really inspiring. But I mean, it was your leadership that was, allowing them to be allowed to do
Oh,
that too. So that's wonderful.
look, it's a bit hazy. My memories of that time now, I don't know what I was or wasn't doing, but
No doubt, no
yeah,
doubt. I mean, that makes perfect sense. So I actually, the podcast I've just released this morning was just one of the things I'm talking about, the best advice I've ever received. And one of them is this idea of pay yourself first. And I think that's exactly that concept that you're talking about. It's what does Lisa need? Like, because if I'm well, if I can smile, if I can get out of bed, if I can, then everybody else will be okay. So it's the second part of it that I think makes it feel all right as mothers, that if I'm good, so is everybody else. If I'm good, money can come in. If I'm good, the kids' emotions will be supported and whatever. So, yeah, it's that oxygen mask theory or filling your own cup or whatever analogy you're using there. But I think that's so powerful for anybody navigating difficult times is you've just articulated that a single question, what do I need? It's almost like, what would you have me do today? Like surrender what's going to be the best use and just not force it and just kind of let it come.
but it's also, I think, knowing Nick died when he was 40. I was 39 when he died, and when you know that life could end at any
Mm.
moment, it even stops being about for everybody else. It's that we get this one life.
Yeah.
Why not feel good amongst it? Why not seek out good times and wind in your hair? Why
Mm.
not see a sunrise? Why not, gift yourself time with friends? Like, we don't have to see this as just constant drain on us.
Yeah.
This
And grind.
modern life.
Yes.
Yeah, because so much of it is like, I've got three kids on my own. It's really hard. It's
Yeah.
taxing.
It's hard
And
anyway. Don't make it
yeah,
harder.
and bloody, I'll show up for good times because, like, what's
They're
the point
fleeting. Yeah. So true. That's
of
so
this?
true.
Like, yeah, and I just think, I think Nick's death definitely gave me a new perspective on that. Yes, I need to be, the better I am, the better the kids are, for sure. Also, I'm a human being living on this planet right now. It's complicated, it's uncertain, there's a lot happening
Mm.
everywhere for everyone.
Mm. Mm.
And so, yeah, I'm gonna go and do some things that make me feel really good. I love going to the theatre. I don't need to go with anyone. I just love seeing
Yeah.
plays and musicals and art. So I'll take that.
Yeah. It's such a powerful reminder. And I think even those two words, why not? Like literally, why not? Well, I'll tell you why, because you're going to die one day and who knows when that is. So have the coffee, have the cocktail, go out with your
See
girlfriends, go to
people.
the
Yes.
theater.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, this is yeah, really, powerful, really inspiring. Lisa, I just love you so much. It's just I said to Lisa before we started recording, I've literally be in a parasocial relationship with Lisa, and it's just that warmth and that honesty that is just makes you break through these kind of big topics with just such impact. So you work still with lots of women who feel stuck in old patterns. What might be the first habit shift that normally unlocks momentum for real change for them?
I think that one of the first things that has to happen, and it's when this landed for me, it was really while I was watching these women try and create change with food.
Okay.
And I could give them everything that they needed, that they even asked for, and made it as simple as possible as
Mm-hmm.
for them to just, you know, I used to have this saying in the Small Steps membership, have an egg, have a meal. Like literally, if you've got eggs, you've got an omelette, you've got a this, you've got that. Like if
Mm.
you're struggling to eat whole foods, just like let's
Have
really
an egg.
simplify. Like
Yeah.
it was so
Yeah.
simple. And yet there were women who wouldn't get off the starting blocks. They joined the
Okay.
membership. They could even be there for a year and still weren't and had a frustration with themselves. And look, there's more going on here. This is
Yeah.
that they say they want the thing, but they're not doing the thing. And then I
Yes.
started to learn a lot more about um, the stories that we tell ourselves,
Mm.
the narrative in our mind about who we are and what's possible for us. So
Okay.
if you identify as someone who is unhealthy, you'll be unhealthy. If you identify as someone whose family will never eat anything I prepare that's healthy, then why would you do it? Because they're never going to eat it. So
Mm.
I started to really like deep dive into this idea of the stories that we tell ourselves. And we've all got them because
Yeah.
we've all been living for a long time and we've created identities and beliefs about who we are and what we do.
Mm.
Now, some of them are true. As someone who was, you know, went through the assessment for ADHD and autism actually and found out that I ticked the boxes for both, it's
Mm.
interesting to look back and go, wow, there were a lot of things that maybe I might have thought was stories, and I tried to change myself so much, but they're actually just parts of me
Your
that,
brain. Yeah.
yep, and in fact, I've just got to be kind to myself and work around them.
Mm. Mm.
But there's also a lot of bullshit that we tell
Yeah.
ourselves, and we
Yes.
lock in and we make it who we are. And it is so, so hard to create lasting shifts in your life while you're still running those narratives. So I always, anything that I've ever created would be just putting a question mark for women over the identity that they've created and the stories that they tell themselves. And it's like, well, is it actually true? Is it true? And if it is a truth, awesome, let's work around it. But most likely, it's something that your teacher in grade 3 told you, and you've just
Yeah.
kept on thinking for your whole entire life. And
Yeah.
it's informing your choices now. It's informing what you see as possible, or the changes that you are or aren't willing to make. And of course, there's lots of other things going on as well, but it's a really core part of it. No woman who I have ever explained this concept to and taught a process around has gone, no, that's absolutely not relevant to me.
Mm.
Everyone's got something that's sitting there, keeping them in that stuck sort of phase because, what happens with our brains, and I mean, obviously, as a habit person, you know this, our brains like to think the same thoughts. There's so
Yeah.
much going on. And so we'll
Mm.
just choose those well-worn pathways.
Yeah. The safety
And
there. Yeah.
yeah, and so shifting that it actually requires work. It
It
requires
does.
and it just doesn't happen overnight.
Mm.
Recently, I created a group of women, and I called it Second Wind. But it's basically around shifting some habits that I have definitely fallen into these past few years as I've just been in maintenance mode,
Right.
just keeping the house going, keeping the kids going, keeping the business going, but just
Not
nothing of,
growth as
of growth.
such. Yeah.
No, and I think it's
Hmm.
okay to have
Yeah.
seasons like that. I actually
Mm.
think that we should normalize it
I
instead of
agree.
because I think for a while I was like, what's wrong with you? I was just recalibrating to a new life, and it's
Just
okay.
living. Yeah.
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 And but now that I'm like, okay, ready to go, I feel like I've got capacity. The kids are at great ages. I got a lot of hormone stuff sorted last year that's allowed me to
It's
feel
holding you
like I've just
back.
got
Yeah.
more. Yeah. But my habits and my thoughts are of that maintenance mode. So
Oh,
I'm
interesting. Because your
having to be
identity was
very,
so steeped in that for so long.
yeah, like it's just so hard for me to get some runs on the board with the kids. There's always something and blah, 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 blah.
Mm.
And so without moving, like, I'm so glad I've got all the tools. I'm so glad I've learned what I have over the past few years, like
Yeah.
decade
Yeah.
and a bit. That now I'm like, okay, these are the most important things. I'm going to focus on these sorts of five things, and they're going to help
Hmm.
me intentionally move. And uh, and so I just invited a whole group of women along for the ride, and we're having such a good time in that group. And the thing that has made the biggest difference to them is this thing, what I call one thing, which is a way that it's sort of like small steps, but it's how I started to, obviously being ADHD and my mind is going in a million different directions. I'm full of ideas, really great at getting started with stuff. I see possibility everywhere and, can go down rabbit holes and do all those sorts of things. And I can get really frustrated with myself that I'm not actually moving anything properly forward, or
Yes. Or
stuff around the
closing
house just sort of
loops.
starts to pile up because there's no
Yeah.
one else here to go, hey, are we going to do that this weekend? And blah, blah,
Mm.
blah, blah. And so I started to think about, oh, it's just like one thing, Lisa. What's one thing that you can get done? What's one thing that if we shifted that, that would allow space for so much else? Okay,
Mm.
Lisa, yes, you've got appointments to make. What's the one most important appointment that we need to make? Okay, the skin check. Do the skin check. Okay. What's one thing around the house that if we got it done this weekend, next week would feel so much better? Blah, blah,
Mm.
and I apply one thing to so many different areas of my life. It's like a mindset, calm down the overwhelm, just like, hey, there's always
One
going to be
thing.
all the things,
Mm.
and we can choose one thing for
Mm.
today, or one thing for this month as a family, or even just a focus for the year.
Mm.
Just choose one and work towards, instead of trying to move 400 little things forward.
Mm.
Just focus on one thing, and it is like a relief for my brain.
I was
Free, I
going to
can't even
say, I
tell
can
you.
almost feel like the deep breath, just like
Oh
the
my God,
exhale. Yeah.
in this group, these women are are doing the most extraordinary one things. Like,
Tell me,
because
what are some of the examples?
one woman sold a caravan that's just been
Hmm.
sitting there.
Yeah,
She's
that would have been
literally
really
made money.
heavy.
Yes. And it's like, I've got to do this, I've got to do this, I've got to do this. And then when there's a accountability and a community going, well, have you done the thing?
Mm.
Other, this one woman the other day, we do these little half an hour sessions where we jump on Zoom and everyone is doing their one thing. She
Mm.
played the piano because
So
she
that
has not
you're
played
doing
the
it
piano.
while the Zoom's on.
Mm. But
Oh,
they turn it
fun.
off. Yeah, so
So it's
it's
like a
like a
little
little,
container.
it is, and it's forcing us. It's body doubling essentially.
Mm.
It's
Mm.
like, if you've said you're going to do it, well,
We're waiting.
do it.
Virtual
Yeah,
cave. Yes.
go and do it. Like one woman
Mm.
hung a mirror. She had for 10 years in her bathroom wanted this arch mirror, and she did it in one of those
Mm.
sessions.
Oh, I love that.
Another woman has got all of her mum is older, and she's got all her paperwork, and she's just been ignoring it. It's just too hard. It's a big job.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, but when you make it your one thing, yes, the whole house needs a declutter, but
Mm.
let's focus on the study. That's the one room. And then just one job in each. And it sounds so simple, but it really does make a really, really big difference. And that's how I am approaching my kind of rebuild is, okay, we see all the things.
Mm.
Everything's possible. That's how it's feeling again. Hurrah to that. also you're not going to get anywhere
Mm.
if if you just sort of sit in that scattered place. Just one thing, just one thing.
Because one thing, if I'm thinking about if I was to use that phrase with myself, one thing is a lot better than no things ever. Because no things ever is kind of the other side of that coin, isn't it?
I think so many of us feel like we're spinning our wheels and the years
Mm,
are flying by and we're not actually, doing anything. It's amazing what happens when, yeah, for our health, we know we should be lifting, we know we should be doing steps, we know we should be, eating more protein. There's all these things, we see it
mm,
all.
mm,
What if, but you do nothing about it because it feels so overwhelming.
mm,
If you chose just one of those,
mm.
just one to focus on for a whole month and just let the others go because you're not going to do them anyway while you're overwhelmed about it all. So
Yeah, I
choose
think
one
that's
and
that's
go
the
for it.
piece, isn't it? Yeah. Is there ever a barrier on choosing the right one
Oh,
for people?
tell you what, I having worked with women all these years, right or wrong thinking just keeps us so stuck.
Right.
We want desperately to choose the right thing.
Mm,
There's got to be a right answer here.
mm,
What in
mm.
life is actually set in stone? What is the correct choice? No one knows.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, but there's a million choices at all times, and we've just got to make a decision. I remember a friend said to me years and years ago, she couldn't decide whether to go back to uni or keep working at her job, and it
Mhm.
was torturing her. She
Mm,
wasn't moving ahead in her career because she didn't know if she was
mm.
going to leave and do this study. And her auntie
Right.
said to her, just make a decision,
Mm.
any decision. And then when you've made that decision, you can make another decision. And then you can make another decision. And I was like, that's
What a wise
revolutionary
auntie. Yeah. It's so
because
freeing, isn't it? Just make a
just
decision.
make a
Just cut
decision.
just cut the crap and make a decision.
Make a
It's
decision.
literally make
Stop
that
it.
bed
There
and
is
lie
no
in
right or
it.
wrong.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
What's
yeah.
what's what's most wrong is keeping yourself thinking that you'll come up with a right decision.
Mm, mm.
So I it's freedom when you just
Just
give
pull the
yourself
trigger.
permission to
Yeah,
play. Yeah.
yeah.
When it was 2023 and I'd been in a relationship for 4 years and that ended. I'd had a little operation. I got complications from it. I got really sick. And I was just like, you know what, I can't do this. I can't even
Too
pretend to,
much.
yeah, I've reached my limit. I don't think I ever fully properly grieved Nick. I think I was just so busy trying to hold it all together. It all
Of
sort of came
course.
crashing down.
Uh-huh.
And I remember thinking, right, so we're in this tricky spot. What is the most creative thing I could do? So I wasn't looking for a right or wrong way to move through where I was at. I was looking for a creative way to move through it. Like if nothing was
Mm.
off the table, Lisa, what would we choose? And the result of that thinking, the way I was thinking about where I was that I took the kids traveling for 4.5 months
That's
around the
right. I
world.
remember. Yeah.
Yeah, because I just thought, I took the business, I took the podcast on the road.
Mm.
I, schooled them on the road and we adventured and traveled because I was aware that there was no right or wrong, just what felt best in that moment.
Do you know, I know neurodivergence gets a bad rap because obviously it comes with, enormous challenge, but I find that such an insightful question and one I don't think I'd ever be capable of is what's a creative answer here? Like, what would be a bit of an out of the box response to the way I'm feeling? And
Mm,
then if you hadn't have given yourself permission to look at it with that kind of lateral thinking, you probably wouldn't have come up with throwing the kids on a plane and seeing where we end up for 4 months. Because
mm,
that is a unique kind of bonkers, but the healing and the connection that came from that, I can only
oh,
imagine was the absolute best use of that time.
oh, best thing I've ever done in my life.
Mm.
And I
What a
did
great
have to,
lesson.
yeah. And it's funny, yeah. I love my brain. I mean, yeah, it's hard because I don't open my mail and there's annoying stuff that is required of this modern life that we live that feels a bit
Admin.
torturous to me sometimes. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But I love my brain. It has
Oh, that's
taken me,
amazing.
I've had a great life.
Yeah.
I in lots of different ways. And I think this rebuilding phase for me right now, with the knowledge that I have, means I
Mm.
can work with my brain, my natural strengths, instead of forcing myself into um, ideas about business or even what growth looks like. I think even just learning about being a woman at this stage of life and embracing all of the
And the
message of that.
opportunities that can come. Yeah.
Yes, like let's just, I just, I think that there's a lot wrong with, silver bullet solutions and constantly optimizing ourselves. I'm so anti all of that.
Mm.
It's so much more fun to just embrace who you are and where you're at and work from that place.
Yeah, I love it. The I saw a quote last week. I think Ben Crow actually said it. I mean, he would have said it before. It was the first time I'd come across it, and it was something like, I accept myself exactly as I am, or like I'm worthy exactly as I am, but there's more that I want to do. And it was kind of this thing, it was really comfortable for me to understand that everything's fine. Like where I am is amazing, but I've got plans and the plans are fun. And it's okay to look towards those plans and not, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. But like, wouldn't it be cool if I did this?
Yeah, look, I think that if there's a through line to everything that I've been sharing over these years, it's probably that more is possible,
Mm,
even if that's just getting yourself into a habit of a daily morning walk
yeah.
or reducing the load at home in ways that you want to, as
Mm,
well as, I remember I felt really flat after attending a awards night for public speakers.
uh-huh.
My friend Christy Goodwin. I don't know if you've come across
Yeah,
Christy.
I think
Yeah,
so.
she's awesome.
Yes.
Um, she won Breakthrough Speaker of the Year, and I was there as a guest on her same table. And all these
Mm-hmm.
people were coming up on stage, and they were like, I couldn't do this without my partner. Thanks for keeping the home fires burning. And this career takes you away from your family. I couldn't do it without, you
Mm.
know, they all had a partner who were and I like person after person after person. And there I
Yeah.
was just going, shit,
What?
I
Yeah.
really just want to get back out on stage and do all those sorts of things. I felt like life was sort of on a certain trajectory and there was a pattern interrupt.
And you were
And my
pulled off it. Yeah.
circumstances
Mm.
is that I really love raising my children.
Mm.
I want to be here on the ground with
Mm.
them.
Mm.
But that has involved other choices,
Yeah, of
other things
course.
not being realized. But I remember after that, I was just like, you know what? Yeah, maybe it's not that version is not possible for me right now, but but maybe I could just host my own event at the place just up the road. Maybe I'll just go and see if I can book that venue. And I
Mm.
booked that venue and announced to my community that something was coming. And I wrote Harvest, which was the story of loving and losing Nick, and
Mm.
performed it as a spoken word event. And
Mm.
that sold out in Melbourne, and I took it to Brisbane and Sydney. And I will, and like this is the thing, like choices are available. If we get locked into not this, not now, then we stop thinking creatively about how to have
Yeah.
what it is that we want. And we're
Yeah.
allowed to be women who have obligations to other people and
Mm.
are in a certain stage of life. And, once again, it always comes back to what can I do to feel good?
Mm.
Like, sure, there's something here. I am a person who wants a bit more, and I don't know how to make it happen, but I'm
Mm.
willing to have a try.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I was at a business event, a round table last week. Actually, I was invited, and it was sort of we were talking about balancing work and family, business and family. And everybody went, all women, and everybody went around and introduced themselves and sort of said, what they do and how many kids they have and whatever. And a couple of them were single mums. And and I shared that even though I do have a husband, he's a school principal and he's not home much, like he gets taken away at a whim and he's often dealing with crises. And, a lot of our plans fall away because of his work, and that's what it is. So anyway, the facilitator of the discussion was a man, and the first person made exactly that comment, like, oh, I couldn't do it without my husband. He cooks dinner every night. And I just wanted to leave the table because I just thought, this is not for me. And then also because there are a couple of single mums on the table, when it got to me, I just said, oh, I think we really have to open our minds up to other models, because this is not helpful. And I had exactly that same feeling that you did around that flatness. Well, how can I ever expect to grow and scale? But it's then and it took me a couple of days to kind of shake it off. And I felt myself protecting the other women at the table as well, being a bit like, hang on, this is not helpful, this sort of talk, But it was exactly that. And I've sort of come full circle, and really appreciate you reminding me and our audience that just that one more, there's always more possible. And it's about, for someone who's quite logical like me, I absolutely need the reminder to be creative and to think, that things can happen just outside of the box that I can see. And in fact, maybe that's where some magic is, if I was just kind of brave enough to take my hands off the wheel a little bit, like you did with the, with the spoken word. Like, who would have thought that would have sold out and gone interstate? But it obviously just felt good, and you pulled that thread. And, I would love to talk to you about that if you didn't get any sales. Like, was that still worth it? And was there still healing to be done through writing the story? And I'm sure there was. So, it doesn't always have to be money that's the success, or ticket sales, or, whatever.
Writing is therapy for me. I actualize thoughts or feelings, or move through things through writing.
Yeah.
That really has been a huge, huge thing for me. Anyone who's followed along has basically had a front row seat at
the
me
stream of consciousness.
Figuring it out.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how what I've learned about stories, and particularly women sharing their stories, it's almost like doing a community service when we allow ourselves to be honest about how hard things are. I had a few posts during those COVID years go absolutely viral, and it would be like me, the photo would be me sitting at my bloody heater in my pajamas, just talking about how, not from a desperate sort of place, but just a really honest place.
Just honest,
like, can we just be honest with each other about
about this is really hard. Yeah.
And so I think that, especially with all the AI and all of that sort of stuff, it's almost easier than it's ever been to just appear as a person, be honest about things. Like, if we can settle into that in ourselves. But it can be hard for women, because so much of what we do is almost keeping up a facade to the people around us, to our communities, to our staff, to, whatever, that everything's okay, because we don't want to even sometimes admit it to ourselves.
Yeah.
When we can, and when we can just sink into that. Like, sometimes there's things that are really, really hard. And sometimes there's no mindset trick in the world that's going to move you through this. We've just got to
quicker than you're ready to. Yeah.
Yeah. We've just got to be with people if we can, be on our own, whatever it is. But leading with honesty and telling the story of it is a powerful thing to do. It's a privilege to be able to have a platform,
an audience to listen. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's an enormous gift to your audience, And there's that thing about, not speaking from the wound, like waiting until it's a scar. And I know there's elements of that are really helpful too, because it helps you be more helpful by the time you're through things. But the benefit of speaking while you're in it, because other people are in all sorts of things as well, and to just feel a sense of being seen and less weird and less alone is
Mm,
just the whole point of having an online community, I believe.
mm,
Absolutely.
yep.
So, Lisa, you've been so generous with your time. I want all of my audience and the few people who haven't come across your work before to be schooled on where we can engage with you. Where can we learn more about you?
Well, I mean, following along on Facebook or Instagram at Lisa
Mm-hmm.
Corduff is probably the best place. And I can give you a link. I send out a weekly email that has lots of different stuff in it. I can give your audience a link to join that. The
Please
website
do.
is needing a bit of a revamp, but that's lisacorduff.com. There's lots of the Story Harvest. There's loads of programs, you know, lots of stuff that I've just been sharing over the years
Mm-hmm.
for other women like me
Mm,
trying to not be so overwhelmed by what life requires of us sometimes. I'm
mm,
just always
mm,
trying to find simple ways to move through the things. And
mm,
I've learned a lot about I've learned a lot about us women over the years. I'm so grateful to my community. I have a great community of women who've done all the things and will keep showing up because I just share from where I'm at right now.
mm, mm.
And but there's an absolute treasure trove of bits and pieces.
Oh, I have absolutely no doubt. And it is worth saying that we've kind of gone really macro here and big picture and sort of some big ideas, but absolutely your work is just as valuable with the like actionable small steps from your
Yeah.
community and from your work. So I really want to, make sure that our audience know that as well. They'll be able to put some things in their toolkit as well as hopefully see big things differently in the way that you've gifted us with today. So, Lisa, again, thank you so much. My face is hurting from the smiling, and I knew this would be the experience. You're just such a gift and so warm and so insightful. So, for the generosity of your time and all of your knowledge and your experience, on behalf of the audience, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for asking me, and it was a pleasure to talk to you.
Thanks for being here for another episode of the Habit Nerd Podcast. I am so grateful for your time. If you enjoyed it or gained a fresh perspective, please share it with a friend, or maybe you feel like giving it a 5-star review, which will take you less than 30 seconds. I do love all of my habit nerds, and I see you showing up every day as your wonderful selves. So until next time, take care.